everyone, this is Grandmaster Damian Lemos here for iChess. Welcome to this new deep dive where we'll be studying the Spanish for white, and this is just an introduction, and I want to tell you the lines we are going to cover in this deep dive. So after e4, e5, knight f3, black usually plays knight c6. We know here we have the Italian with bishop c4, d4 would be the Scotch, but bishop b5 is, and it's going to be, the main move for white. And after bishop b5, in order to get started with the Spanish, we need to know a lot of moves. We know a6 is the main move, and this is the subject of a future deep dive. We need to be aware of other moves such as bishop c5. We'll study this. We'll study bishop b4. That's another line. We'll study variations like knight e7, d6. It is the well-known Steinitz, g6, which is like another idea. It's like trying to play Steinitz like an accelerated Steinitz as black. We'll also study this. f5, this is also known as the Schliemann Gambit, quite aggressive from black, and as white we definitely need to know some theory. Knight d4, another sharp variation, and of course we also study knight f6, the Berlin Wall. Knight f6 is one of the most solid lines black can play against e4. In this deep dive, we'll see how to fight against this solid weapon, and I'm going to recommend the move d3. We know the main move is this. Knight takes e4. Rook e1 is an option, and usually we get symmetrical positions. And apart from Rook e1, d4 is also a possibility. And you probably saw this endgame at some point in your life, because this has been played a million times. Knight f5. Well, if queen e2, knight d4, and if we take on d8, we got this endgame or pre-endgame where black has the king in the center, but we have a queen-less position as well, so there's no risk for black. He's got the bishop pair, and usually chances are level, they are equal for both sides. So instead of playing this theoretical endgame, where after years of study, no advantage for white was found, so instead of playing this, let's play d3, which is a move that has been played a lot by Carson, and we keep every single piece on board, we keep queens on board, and if we play better than our opponent, we'll definitely have a chance to win. So that is my recommendation against the Berlin, and of course, as I was saying, we'll study other lines: Schliemann, g6, bishop c5, bishop b4, knight d4, d6, knight f6, the Berlin, knight to e7. We'll basically know everything we need to know to start playing the Spanish. And in future deep dives, we'll also take a look at a6, and that is by far the main move by black. Here we can play bishop a4, which is actually the main move, or we can also play this change variation, which is bishop takes c6. So those are the things we are going to cover in this deep dive. This is just an introduction, but I just wanted to let you know all the things we are going to study in this course. So hopefully you found this introduction useful. I want to see you guys in my videos. Thank you.
Buying individual chess courses to add to your collection can get expensive, and waiting for the course or video you're looking for to go on sale can take weeks or even months. So, what's a chess enthusiast to do? Introducing the iChess Club, an exclusive community of chess enthusiasts that enjoy a wild range of benefits, including a permanent 40% discount on virtually all chess courses on our shop. Yes, 40% on all items anytime. But wait, there's more. For those of you who like physical DVDs, we offer unlimited free shipping on all items, anywhere in the world, anytime. You'll also get access to the entire iChess.club library, where we post over a dozen exclusive new videos every month. Our lineup of presenters is of much higher quality than anything you can find on YouTube, with exclusive videos by Simon Williams, Damian Lemos, Valerie Lilov, Brian Smith, Eric Rosen you can't find anywhere else, and even private appearances by world's top grandmasters such as Anatoly Karpov, Judith Polgar, Susan Polgar, and more. There are dozens of other benefits as well, such as an additional 5% off all items already on sale, a free 30-minute preview of every single product in our shop, and the ability to purchase items at the sale price up to 30 days after the sale has ended. There are so many benefits we can't possibly list them all in this video. So, join the iChess Club community today and start saving. Joining is easy and you can cancel at any time. So, what are you waiting for? Sign up today.
Alright, so we continue working on the Spanish, and now we'll see a new line after knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, and now the move bishop to c5. This is a sideline, but black has got some ideas, so it is worth studying how to play against this bishop c5. It reminds me a bit of the Italian game, but the difference is we have the bishop on b5, and black, with this move, he wants to play knight d4. He can also play knight d4 now, but the problem is we take, after pawn takes, his pawn structure is suspicious, to say the least. So bishop c5 is trying to play knight d4, thus trading pieces off. And as white, we cannot win a pawn. If we play this, he simply takes with the d pawn, and after knight takes e5, he's got the move queen d4. He gets the pawn back, there's a mating threat on f2, the knight is also under attack, e4 pawn is hanging as well, so here we are likely to trade pieces off and to play an endgame against his bishop pair, so this is not a good idea for white. So against bishop c5, you'll find loads of games where white plays the move c3. And this is the main move. c3, trying to stop knight d4, trying to play this move. As white, this is a nice approach. But I also like the simple kingside castle. Why? Because I'm not really afraid of knight d4. That's my main reason. Because I'm not concerned of the arising positions after knight d4. That's why I want to allow this move for black. If I play c3, then there's no way he plays knight d4. So I also like the fact this is a simple system, we just castle and we continue our development. So from this position onwards, black has some moves. d6 is one of them. The other move is knight f6. Another logical move. We'll see this on next chapter. And of course, the move knight d4. This is what our opponents are going to play as black. This is the main idea when he plays the bishop c5 line. But we'll see against knight d4, we have a simple approach, and I think we get a risk-free advantage with the following variation. So knight takes d4, he's going to take with the bishop. If he takes with the pawn, well, this is also possible. However, his bishop is on a closed diagonal, and here I would try bishop c4. Now, we also have ideas like bishop takes f7, queen h5, and that bishop is hanging, not to mention d3, f4. Clearly, he has no control over the center, so against knight d4, knight takes, he's going to take with the bishop. But here we have the chance of playing c3. We win a tempo. Bishop goes back. We play d4. And now he has to play c6. Otherwise, he cannot support the center. and he cannot play d6. So he's going to play this move. We play bishop a4, and now d6. Now we understand the idea behind black's setup. He played c6, he played d6. His bishop is now protecting the queen, and all black is waiting for is d takes e5. We are not going to play this. If we do, then we are just playing an equal endgame. I mean, knight f6 is coming, his bishops are good. Bishop d8 is in good shape. Worst case scenario, he plays bishop c7. His king is in the center, that might be an advantage, so we don't really want to play this. What we are going to play is after knight takes, bishop takes, c3, bishop goes back, d4, c6, bishop a4, d6. Now we have a nice move, which is knight to a3. Our knight is going to land on c4, thus putting extra pressure in black's position. And what I like about this is the fact he still needs to castle, so his development is not over yet. Black played knight f6, knight c4, logical. I don't think he can take on e4. He has no development, and if he does, then rook e1 is probably crushing. Yeah, this is not very good looking for black, to be honest. So knight c4, he's going to play bishop c7, 100%, and then we'll play bishop c2. At first glance, this looks equal, but I think we can get an advantage. He can play bishop e6, he can castle as well. I don't think it changes much. We play knight e3, he castles, and then the move queen f3. I love this position for white. It doesn't look like much, but knight f5 is coming, maybe rook d1 to put extra pressure on the d file, and against e4, e5 sometimes we cannot get much, but if we do get an advantage, that's all that matters. Here, I think knight f5 is going to happen sooner or later, and then we'll have the bishop pair. I think the bishop pair is, in the long run, a big advantage for white. So, I really like this. I also like, for instance, playing this first, and then queen f3. There's a difference by playing this and playing queen f3 right now. If we play queen f3 right now, he might have the move d5, and then we get a lot of traits in that position. It's like black is freeing his position in the center. However, if we take first, then queen f3, there's no danger on the d file. We've got d2 and d3 under control. Rook d1 is coming, knight f5. It's like black has less possibilities. And of course, he cannot play the move d5. So, this, again, I think it's a bit better for white. The game we are following, by the way, is Anand against Kachiev. This game was played in Moscow in 2009. White played queen f3, black played the solid rook e8, rook d1, queen e7. We see black playing natural moves, takes, we get the same structure we were analyzing before, knight f5, and now black has to take. If he doesn't take, well, queen f8 looks way too passive, but now both bishop here or even knight h6, they look promising for white, so he's gonna take, most likely. We take with the queen, the game goes on. Again, it's not a huge advantage, but trust me, on light squares we are dominating for the rest of the game. We can also play a move like this, just to control this knight, and we do have a stable advantage as white. You can check the entire game, Anand Kachiev. White ended up winning in great fashion, and it is also a model game of how to play these positions. And I love the fact this is a risk-free advantage for white. Nowadays, black has loads of ways to equalize in the opening, so I don't mind playing equal lines anymore. And this, it is supposed to be equal, yes, but there's no risk for white. And black has to play precise moves to keep balance here after d6. You can play knight a3, still not clear. It is a 0.0 equality. I think black still has some work to do in order to fully equalize. And again, these positions, despite looking equal, they are not. We still have room for improvements, and the one who plays better chess is the one that's going to win. And also remember my advice, here d5 is possible, so maybe taking first and then queen f3. This looks like a better option for white. We can still use the plans we see in the game Anand against Gachiev. So if Anand played this as white, it's probably a great line to follow. So coming back to other lines, coming back to that position after bishop c5, we're going to castle. That's my advice. The other main line I recommend, you can look for games where white plays c3. That is definitely the main move, but we're going to castle. And now knight f6 is what we are going to study during the next chapter. The other move we'll see now, apart from knight d4, is the move d6. So this is a tricky line by black. He's not playing for just equality. In that case, he would play knight d4. So when he plays d6, he's trying to play something like this. And he still wants to control the d4 square. So after d6, I like the simple d4. You can also try playing c3. This is the standard approach, trying to play d4. However, I like playing d4 now, making use, exploiting the fact knight c6 is under a pin. This also reminds me of the Steinitz. Once we play with d4, he has to take, and this position, it does look like Steinitz. Maybe the real difference is that the bishop is outside the pawn chain. In the Steinitz, the bishop is usually on e7. But other than that, we got a Steinitz setup. I said that in Spanish for some reason. So, alright, d4 takes, knight takes d4. Now, black usually plays the move knight to e7. If he plays bishop takes d4, I like, well, bishop takes c6 is also possible, but I like queen takes, and I still have the bishop pair as white, so I don't think this is very good for him. After a move like queen f6, I can just play the endgame with the bishop pair, or I can also play queen e3, knight c3, I continue developing my pieces, and my bishop pair should tell. That queen on f6, by the way, is not well placed, so knight to e7 looks like a much better option for black. And here I found the game from, this was played in a FIDE World Championship knockout between Shidov and Sokolov, and Shidov as white played bishop g5. A nice move. Well, we have some threats, but also we are inviting black to play the move f6, which looks good for him, but in reality he is weakening his king side when he plays the move f6. That is exactly why we played this move, bishop g5. And in the move black, he does play f6. Other moves, bishop takes d4, this was also played, you can find the game on the PGN files, is Rigo against Deli. So queen takes d4, knight c6 is under a pin, so black played f6, white simply goes back, a6, and by playing this, we can tell black he's gonna get the bishop pair back. If we play bishop a4, he plays b5, and we just lose material. So in this line, bishop takes, knight takes. Here white played queen e3. Maybe somewhere else. Queen c4 is also good because we stop him from castling, and then knight c3, knight d5. I feel white is much better in this position because opposite color bishops, they usually favor the attacking side, and it is also visible we have more space. So even what was played in the game, I think it's good for white. I like this position. We just have more space. So after bishop g5, I don't think bishop takes d4 is an issue. Black plays f6. Now white simply goes back to e3. We could also go back to h4, but I like the approach of keeping our pieces close to the center. And here black decides to take on d4. Now he played f6. After bishop e3, we have to mention his king side is a bit weak. And I wonder why he took on d4 here. What happens if he castles? If he castles, then we have knight takes c6. He's in trouble because we'll also take on c5, and he'll get triple pawns on the queen side. If he takes like this, we check on c4, and then we take on c5. If he plays knight takes c6, well, we can just take, and then we take on c6. This is a nightmare for black, at least from the positional point of view. It is a nightmare. And also, if he castles, knight takes, yeah, queen d5 check, also wins, clean pawn. So, not good news for black in this variation after bishop e3. Now, we understand why he takes the knight. Here we can just take with the queen. This is what Shirov played. Although, I found another game where white took with the bishop. The game is Trebal against Cheron. Black castles. Now, we can simply move the bishop back and play with the bishop pair, but in this game, white played the simple knight c3. Black here, he should have taken the bishop, but he didn't. Then white goes back. In that position, black is solid. That's fair to say. However, white's bishops are much better. It is simple. That position is potentially open. We have no weaknesses. In this case, we even win the control of the c4 square, and one day we'll continue advancing. And the bishop is a bishop. At least we have a slight advantage as white. So this, I don't mind playing this positionally better positions for white with bishop e3. Bishop takes d4. As we were analyzing, white played bishop takes d4 in that game we were discussing seconds ago. Shirov, in his game against Sokolov, he played queen takes d4, a6. Now we have to take. We know this trick already. If bishop a4, he plays b5, and he wins on the spot. So bishop takes, knight takes, and queen c4. We saw this position with the bishop on h4. Now we are analyzing the same position with the bishop on e3. And I really like this for white because knight c3, knight d5 is coming. He's having some issues in order to castle, and he has to play queen e7. Knight c3. Now bishop e6. Queen f7 is another move I would play as black. If I don't think much, I would play queen f7, but the problem is we don't really mind trading queens off. We know after knight d5 he loses the pawn on c7 and probably the game. So instead he plays bishop e6, knight d5, and now black has to take. Why? Because if he moves the queen, queen d7 or queen f7, we have knight takes c7 check, and we just win a pawn. And of course, the game. Not only we have an extra pawn, we also have targets to attack. So, I mean, till this position we can tell this is more or less forced. And after bishop takes, well, queen takes d5 is alright, but I think taking with the pawn is stronger because that knight on e5 is not stable. We can push that knight back by playing f4. We'll have control over the e-file, and in the long run we can try establishing a rook on e6. That pawn on d5 gives us space advantage as well, especially for the endgames. So here black castles. Well, this is a good move. We cannot take on b7, and even if we could, he got some counterplay. Here, as you can see, our queen is being trapped, but we're not gonna take on b7. We can just play rook f e1, and I strongly recommend you watch the rest of this game because white shows how to increase the advantage in this pre-endgame. It is like a pre-endgame lesson, to be honest. It is a game that taught me a lot. Black played queen b5, and the resulting pawn structure is quite interesting. Black has not good squares for his knight. We have some of our pawns on light squares. We still have more space, and we also have bishop against knight. That is, I think the bishop is dominating in this sort of endgames. And as usual, we are discussing positions with a risk-free advantage for white. So that is something we are looking for when we play as white. Lines where we are not at risk, but our opponent has to defend all the time. So this game, I strongly recommend you study this carefully. And this line, as you can see, worst case scenario, black equalizes. But in order to do so, he has to play very good moves. And in these lines, I don't see black fully equalizing. We'll see during next chapter what happens after bishop b5, bishop here, weak castle, and knight f6. This is the move we'll start analyzing during next chapter. But so far, both knight d4 and d6, we see there's a lot of play left for both sides, and in these complicated positions, I feel white is doing better. So I hope you found this video useful. I hope you could learn something, and of course I want to see you guys in my next chapter. Thank you.